It's necessary.
And
True. True.
yeah, it's necessary. But coming back to question number two for this one, because I think
Yeah.
it ties
Sorry.
beautifully.
Uh-huh.
No, it's part of the conversation, and
Uh-huh.
it's why not? That's the whole point of this. But coming back to this conversation of quitting, right? Like when you're quitting, those
Mhm.
three questions you need to ask. So the first question, as a reminder, was, "Am I panicking?" And we had a wonderful conversation on
Uh-huh.
this one.
Mhm.
The second question is, "Who am I trying to influence?" Right?
Mhm.
And this is a very sort of like question that I connect with. So if you don't mind, I have something to say about this because it was rummaging in my head, like running around in my head. So you know that I'm a marketer, right? Like
Mhm.
that's what I have been for a very, very long time. I consider myself, I'm not the best marketer in the world, because if I was,
Mhm.
then the world would know about me, but I'm
Mhm.
still pretty good at what I do. Like I can figure it out. And there was this sentence I read in this book that, you are a marketer, you've made a product, and your product isn't catching on, and you're wondering if you should abandon this product and try another, right? And I don't expect you to like completely understand my viewpoint, but if I am as a marketer and I am unable to sell my own product, I don't
Mhm.
necessarily question the product first. I
Mhm.
question my marketing skills. Like, do I even know marketing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? I have always blamed my skills rather than the product. I've always said to myself that, I haven't approached this right. Like, I should have used that font. I should have created a video
Mhm.
instead of an image. I should have used this keyword instead of that keyword. And then Google was saying this, all the SEO scores were saying this. And eventually you just quit because you're just like, well, I'm just not a good enough marketer,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
right? And I've done that a few times.
Yes, sir.
And now I realize that, hey, I know marketing, I know how it works, I know what I'm doing. Have I asked myself, am I targeting the right people? Who is the person that I need to sell this to?
You.
Am I right? Yes, right?
Yeah, yeah. I know. I
Exactly.
feel you. I
Yes,
feel. I feel you.
exactly.
You remember?
Yes.
You remember vector mark? Because
The knife
because
guys?
yeah, like we sorry, we had this like a little bit a parallel conversation about having a successful business until the time the identity of till the time the belief behind the product changed, and then everything changed. From a success it became a slow poisoning. You remember, right? That conversation about the juices and
Yeah, yeah,
whatnot, right?
yeah.
So it was. So I think it's pretty parallel with that. And just to kind of put light in a different way, man, vector marketing. Okay, vector marketing was selling knives and things like that in Vancouver. Okay, door to door, door to door. And I'm telling you, tried as a student was really hustling. Okay, so man, join this group. It's called Vector Marketing, and the product that they sell is called Cutco. Cutco. Cutco knives and stuff. Very expensive knives. Okay. Um, they would ask us to dress in suits, show up for group meetings. They would pump us up, like how group sales videos that you guys see where the one person is trying to pump up the group. Yeah, go
Yeah.
out there, get it done. So it was that kind of vibe, right? The first thing was to make the first sale. I was so pumped, bro. Right? I was so pumped. I went, and the first demo that I gave was at Himalayan Peak, the restaurant.
Yeah, the one on Yaya
Right?
campus. I
Yeah,
remember that
yeah,
one.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
I
Indian
remember
restaurant.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first place where I gave the demo for those knives. Okay, bro. Uh, first couple of times I was so good at it, till the time I was like, man, I don't wanna do this. Like, I don't want to sell knives. I like the selling part, but I don't like why am I selling knives suddenly, right? Like, why am I door to door selling knives, right? And then we would come back to the. I think I stayed there for like 2 months or month and a half, and every week we had a meeting. After the second week, they would say numbers, right? How uh, like the leaders in sales, right? From that group. Bro, there were people selling knives as if they were selling drugs. It was going so easy for them. Every door that they were knocking, or every second door, they were able to make a sale, right? They sold the knives to all their family members, this, that, da, 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 everything, everything. And then uh, the most success part came from people who sold knives to their families. Okay, they sold to all the uncles and aunties that they knew, right? They just
Right.
sold them to them. And then now that I look back, I'm thinking, I was like, man, I never like I didn't have too much family here, but I never called anybody that I knew to buy that product off of me. I could have
Right.
made them sales,
Yeah.
right? But I
Why
never
didn't I
called.
do that?
Why did I do that? But there's a reason I didn't do that, right? Because uh, I could never sell it to myself first, right? Because this idea that why am I selling knives and why would I sell it to them when it was. But if it was something else, something I would imagine that I have, if it was something that I was aligned with, maybe I would have called them. We're like, yo, I have something for you, right? But I never did. And that just making me think that if you cannot sell it to yourself, right, or if you're not into it, then you could be the best selling person, but then you might not make the sales just because uh, a good uh, a good. I'm not saying that a good car salesman cannot sell other things. Yes, he can, but the passion, the longevity of it might be very different. The results might be a little bit different just because something he believes in,
Right.
he can sell, and something he does not believe in that he's selling are two different, are two completely different aspects of sales or marketing. In my
Right.
mind, yeah.
No, you're absolutely, there is weight to what you're saying. I'll say
Mm.
that there is absolutely a lot of weight to what you're saying, and there is documented evidence. There are documented stories out there of successful people who, can corroborate this. And I remember that Cutco time because I know you gave me a demo too, and
Yeah, you remember, right?
I
Cutting
remember I came
pennies and cutting
I
the rope.
remember, yeah, I came to your house and there was this big like set of knives on the coffee table and I was like,
Uh,
why does he have knives? And then you sat me down and you gave me a whole like demo of like how sharp the knives were, and I and I remember like, okay, so we're doing knives now. That's what we're doing. I was like, why not, right? So yeah, I remember that era. I definitely do, and this was when you were roommates with all these other guys. I
mm,
remember
mm, mm.
that time, and but see, that's the thing, right? Like you were giving the demo to me, but I wasn't
Mm.
your customer, right? Like
Yeah, true. I was,
how
bro.
much did I cook? Like it's like, buying the best, getting what's his name, Gordon Ramsay, to give his special knives to a university student that eats ramen all day. What is he
Noman,
gonna
bro.
cut with?
Noman, the you know what the you get so this is a completely different thing from this, but it was so funny is in the in these group meetings, you know what they would do or what they made me do, and I still look back and
What?
I'm like, man, seriously, they said that you're gonna take out your phone right now and you're gonna go through your contact list and then you're gonna call 5 people from your contact list. And I was like, man, and then the group pressure is there, right? Everybody has to do this, right? Bro, I remember calling Professor Tariq, Professor Logan, right? I'm calling professors because those are the only like I cannot call you guys because you guys are not my,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I do remember calling one of the guys just as a friend, and I remember telling him in my own language first, but like, bro, just play this out with me. Okay, I'm stuck. Just play this out with me. Oh, sir, can I? Da, 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 right? Just because I was an international student, I didn't have that kind of connect, right? All I knew was like uh, broke international students and professors. That's all I knew, to be honest with you, right? So I'm calling. So I remember 3 calls went to professors, 2 went to friends to whom I explained first that I'm just kind of playing this out. Just please say yes, 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 and you can keep the phone down after 2 minutes. I don't need anything, okay? But bro, I'm calling. It's so embarrassing, right? So embarrassing that like that the Himalayan peak thing. I used to eat there every other day, bro. One day eating, I'm like, can I give you a demo for knives? They're like, what happened to this kid, right? Suddenly he's like it was just bizarre, bro. I'm sorry, this is not related to what we're talking about, but I
No,
just
no, no.
remember what they made me do, bro, in that meeting. it was
I I
crazy.
I know what you're talking about. Trying to sell $600 knives to university students. Like, where are they going to get the money from? Like, this Ali calling, bro, buy my knives, bro. I
Bro,
don't have money for ramen. You want me to
bro,
buy your $600 knives?
bro, wearing a suit, having a leather bag. I
Yes,
walked
yes.
I walked like because then they give you streets, right? You're supposed to go knock on every da 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 because only big houses or like homeowners. So the concept was homeowners buy this. Because my biggest question was like, that hey, who buys this stuff? Because I'm a broke student, bro. I'm buying knives from a dollar store, right? I'm just like, man, give me the I don't mind how blunt it is, right? Just give me something to something to cut the meat or vegetable, whatever it is. But so I was my first question was, I'm like, man, who buys this? They're like, homeowners do. I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it. They're like, okay, so we're gonna give you the street. You're gonna go down all these houses and knock on doors and try to sell it. Bro, everybody knocked on door. I just got high and came back.
Right.
But the entire 3 hours, walked around, didn't even knock on a single door, came
I
back
know.
home, and just
Yeah.
go like, yeah, yeah, nothing.
It's it's see I'll tell you the value of the story that you
Hmm.
have just shared with us, right? Okay, let me ask you this question first. You obviously stopped doing that, right? I mean, obviously you
No,
don't sell knives right now, otherwise we'll be reading
no.
about you selling knives. So at some point, and you said you did it for 2 months, right? That's what I heard.
A month and a half or two, yeah, something like that,
Month
yeah.
and a half,
Uh,
right?
uh.
And then one day you just decided to quit, right?
Mhm.
Right. So this now listen to this one. Okay, this is the third question, Ali. You'll see
Mhm.
why like I pushed in this direction. And I'm going to read the paragraph to you before we sort of reflect on this question. So just bear with me for a couple of seconds. So the question number 3 is just a reminder first what the first two questions were.
Mhm.
First question was, am I panicking? And we had a wonderful conversation on that one. And then we talked about who am I trying to influence? And we came to the
Mhm.
conclusion that it is essentially you are the customer, right?
Mhm.
So, question 3 is, what sort of measurable progress am I making? And we're still talking about quitting, right? So,
Mhm.
this is the question number 3 that we're asking. Now, the paragraph that I want to read to you, if you're trying to succeed in a job or a relationship or at a task, you're either moving forward, falling behind, or standing still. There are only 3 choices. To
Mhm.
succeed, to get to that light at the end of the tunnel, you've got to make some sort of forward progress, no matter
Mhm.
how small. Too
Mhm.
often, we get stuck in a situation where quitting seems too painful, so we just stay with it, choosing not to quit because it's easier than quitting. That
Mhm.
choice to stick with it in the absence of forward progress is a waste. It's a waste because of the opportunity cost. You could be doing something far better and far more pleasurable with your time. Now, coming back to your story of quitting the job, selling knives a month and a half into it, would you say that you maybe saw the metrics and you were like, well, I haven't made a single dollar. Why do this?
Mhm.
Would I be accurate in saying that, Ali?
Yeah, yeah, and I think, and honestly, if being a student at that point in time, uh, the only thing that would have kept me was the dollar, right? Like if the dollars were coming in, I might have forced myself to do it a little bit longer, but I just wasn't like, yeah, yeah. So you're right,
No,
yeah.
no return on investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things where, like, you're familiar with the sunk cost fallacy, right?
Is it?
Right. So this I feel like this question that the author of this book has posed here, what sort of measurable progress am I making? It's essentially getting you to recognize the sunk cost fallacy, right? That you put your time and effort and money, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Ali, they make you pay for the knives.
Yes, bro. I was gonna say it was the only
Yeah.
it was the only an expense. I had to buy dress pants and suits and buy all these nice.
Yo, so there was a sunk cost fallacy. Now you've
uh,
got your suits, you've got the knives, right? And you haven't made a single sale. And even if, let's say, you made some sales, you first have to recoup the money that you spent on the
mhm,
knives and the dress, right? And then you can basically come back and say, like, well, I'm making profit now. In any case, what when I reflect on this question, right, I look back at a lot of my projects that I just stuck with. And I'm going to share something with you, Ali, which is a bit personal.
Mhm.
in the sense that personal, not in the sense that, like, it's something personal, but it's just something
Mhm.
I haven't been
Mhm.
able to sort of like say out publicly. When I started one of the projects that I was working for, and I spent like tens of thousands of dollars on this, right?
Mhm.
I had hired people from all over the world, right? But I still did it with a budget because I was trying to maximize what I could get for that money, which was a
Mhm.
mistake, which I realize now, but that was a big mistake. And I tried to squeeze as much as I could. And so after all of this was done, and the final project was with me, and now it was my turn to essentially carry it to the finish line,
Mhm.
I realized that, I the project that was delivered to me wasn't good, right? I did not really sit down and consider that, would I use this myself every single day? I avoided that question. I was just happy to have come to this point where now I can go and market it. And the
Mhm.
more I tried to market it in the beginning, the first, I'd say, like couple of months, I realized the mistake I had made, right? But rather than admit that I'd made this mistake, I just kept pushing. Every single day, I would wake up, make a post. I would talk about, the intent behind this project. I would try to make a video. When I launched this project, I made like a 30-minute video, right?
Mhm.
Talking about, like, why I'm doing this, how cool it's going to be, and whatnot. Completely living in this bubble that wasn't real. Like living in my head, there were basically two versions of the project. One was the reality that was in front of me, and the other was in my head, which, was the one that I was using to basically dictate everything that I was doing. And it didn't match with the reality. And I stuck with this thing for like a year. Like literally, I wasted a year over this. And I have, I am a little ashamed to admit this, but there were periods in that year where for 3 to 4 months, I did absolutely zero work. And when I say
Mhm.
zero work, I did not even log into the admin panel. Forget
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
making social media posts. But because I'd already spent all that money and I was already paying for hosting, I continued to pay for hosting for a year. I
Mhm.
continued to, pay for the support team every month, right? I continued to pay for them, and they were just sitting idle doing nothing. I was just sitting idle doing nothing, but I did not want to admit that, no progress was being made, that what I had created was just not appealing to people. And I was
Mhm.
lying to myself. And I did not have the courage to admit that. And so what happened was I wasted a year of my life that could have been spent refining and rebuilding or rethinking the problem. And I did not do
Mhm.
that. And this is one of the things, because, okay, the last sentence, which I want to read again, because it's the one that resonates with me so much now. It's a waste because of the opportunity cost. You could be doing something far better and far more pleasurable with your time. And
Mhm.
I remember the day I finally made the decision to shut it down and rethink it, right? And it was a heartbreaking moment for me because it felt like I was abandoning something, even though I
Mhm.
had already abandoned it, to be honest with you. I'd
True,
already
true.
abandoned it.
I feel you.
But
I
it
feel
was
you.
that, it was that decision of finally like
Uh-huh.
turning off the hosting service, and now the
Mhm.
website was completely offline. The dev team has been let go, right? And the moron in charge who created all of this now finally gets to push the button. And it was such a somber moment for me because I sat there and I said to myself, after it was done, after everything had, the servers were winded down, and I asked myself, like, why did I wait a year? Why
Mhm.
didn't I just do it after 6 months? 6 months would have been reasonable. I get 3 months, I get 5 months. 6 months would have been reasonable. If I didn't see any value, why persist with it? And I did not get the answer for a very, very long time. Like, I really did not have this answer. And now, after consuming all this knowledge, after all of this experience, I realized that it's really about knowing the kind of person you are and how attached you might get to some things, and trying to separate that attachment and using your logic to figure out, well, is this going somewhere? And it's one of the things that drives me right now is whenever I create a project, I ask
Mhm.
myself, is this going to make me money, or is this just a passion project, just like a little hobby?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
being able to differentiate between the two has given me an amazing peace of mind, but it has also done something that has completely changed sort of my life. Well, not changed my life, more so has completely changed people's perception of me, right? I love writing. I
mhm,
love to write. I have an entire website where I write articles every now and then. I research articles for years. If you ever come to my house, I know it's been years, but if you ever
mhm,
come to my house, the amount of research papers around this house is insane.
mhm,
And I don't regret it one bit. And you'll read an article that I'm just writing, finishing up.
mhm,
It's taken me 1.5 years to write.
mhm,
And it's not because I delayed or like I didn't put time into it, because I had to read hundreds of research papers, consolidate and whatnot. And as I finish this paper right now, I had asked myself the same question. It took you a year and a half to write.
mhm,
What are you expecting now? Right?
mhm,
Like, are you expecting a Nobel Peace Prize? Right? Like the Nobel Committee is going to come in like, yeah, let's give him an award for literature right now. I have
mhm,
no expectations, because my goal is not to make money with this. My goal isn't to be known as some great writer. My goal is just to put my opinion on something out there. That's it. Like, I just want, to speak up, so to speak.
mhm,
That's
mhm.
just sort of reframing the problem. But I want to come back and ask your thought on this. Having said what I have said, sharing my story, and reminding you of the question now, what sort of measurable progress am I making? Have you been in a position where, I know we talked about Cutco, but apart from that Cutco job, like, have you ever like measured yourself and said to yourself like, okay, Ali, I should switch gears and do something else. This is a waste of time.
Um, so you like talking about like initially there have been a few things. Now I'm at a position now where I don't start these things now unless I have a very clear understanding or direction, of what again what my expectation is. Why am I doing this? What comes out of it? Is it a hobby? Is it just like an impulse right now? Is it something that I really want? Is it something that resonates with me? But the earlier days, so many things have been started and finished, right? Just started, just finished, just started, just finished, just because there was no substance to it. It was, or maybe the intention behind it, or the expectation of it, or what I wanted from it was so not in align with uh, the action and the result, kind of right. Like doing something and expecting this kind of result, where this action is not for this. Let me let me phrase it better. Um, Taking up on things, expecting expecting a result out of it, which is not the nature of the thing that I've taken up. So if I've taken up a hobby, right, and if I'm attaching monetary reward from it, but that was never the intention to start that thing or to do that thing. Everything for me in life was attached to a monetary reward at first. Nothing was for the soul. Nothing was for the mind. Everything was for the money. Literally everything, right? No habit other than just going to gym here and there, randomly, right?
Yeah,
Even that was very external. Oh, so
yeah,
okay, there you go. The word external comes in play, right?
right,
Everything was for the external. Nothing was for the internal.
right.
Everything was being done for some source of something for the outside, whether it
Yeah,
was money, looks,
perception.
girls,
Yeah,
whatever the thing might be, right? But now it's not. But now it's not like that. Now it's like, man, what do I want to be like? What do I want to do? What's the intention behind it? Like these days I'm reading topics, right? Uh, a lot of NLP, cybernetics, and things like that, with no intention other than just educating myself. There's nothing more to it, right? I don't have like you know, uh, per se a plan for that. And I spend hours doing that, hours, right? Like a good chunk of the week goes for these activities, but it's just for myself. Nothing, and it's so easy to do because I have very clear intentions of it.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can time it accordingly. I know it helps me prioritize things too. That I
Mhm.
know that hey, if this reading part is, I'm not saying it's less prior, but if there's something more urgent that needs to be taken care of, I know which activity I can hold back for a day or two, which is this one example. Hey, Harry,
Yeah.
maybe a lot of things are happening. Maybe I can take my reading time from 2 hours to 1 hour right now because a lot of things are coming up, right? And those things are to run my life. This is for my self growth one. So it can, like, it also helps you prioritize once you know the expectations or why you're doing it. Or else, before I was just trying to do everything, not understanding what the order list is, right? And and then getting and then pretty much not doing anything proper. So to answer your question, yes, I feel you. I understand. Like I think I have experienced that in my life too. Just
Right.
yeah.
It's it, yeah, like this idea of like measuring progress.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people ignore this, especially if,
Mhm.
people who are starting this journey of becoming their own person, whether it is starting your own business, whatever it may be. Honestly,
Mhm.
a lot of people don't measure progress, and I get why you don't measure progress in the beginning. And I'm not saying that you don't have the knowledge to measure it. We get absorbed in what we're doing because that level of excitement is there, right? That cliff, right? And
Mhm.
then you reach the top of the cliff, like you've done all the work, the videos are out there, right? Like, you've posted on Twitter or you posted on Facebook, whatever, and then nothing happens. Now you're in the dip, and then you're stuck. Now you don't know where to go, right? You don't know how to measure, because even in the dip you can measure. And I want to give you an example of this, Ali. Like, I think you might like
Mhm.
this. So we talk about this every now and then. We bring up working out, right?
Mhm.
And I have expressed my challenges with working out for a very, very long time. And I think it is one of the best examples that I can use right now to really explain the dip. When I first started working out, I weighed quite a bit, right? I was genuinely enjoying candy. Like,
Mhm.
after every meal, like, give me that Snickers bar or like a big box of Kit Kat. Like, I will finish it for you. Don't worry about it, right? And you put on weights, and then you suddenly start looking like, with a big stomach, and the Michelin man and you there is no difference, right? And I remember the day I decided to start working out seriously, and then I had my struggles and whatnot. And I don't know if I ever explained to you, but I'd been working out for a few months before I quit, right? For the first time. And I'd been working out consistently for 3 months, and I'd been measuring myself. And I remember looking in the mirror, and I didn't see any change, right? And I looked the same. I was like, yo, man, I've been working out 3 months. I do cardio, I do this, and I know I've lost like maybe 2-3 kgs or whatever, right? But I'm still like fat. Like, I don't want to be fat. Like, I want to
Mhm.
be in decent shape. I wasn't trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. And
Mhm.
I got so demotivated that I was doing it wrong. I got
Mhm.
so demotivated that nothing is changing for me, that I
Mhm.
can't even
Mhm.
work out right. Why waste my time? And I remember trying to work out the next day, and I'm like, why am I even doing this? And I
Mhm.
was and I was angry for no reason. I was like genuinely angry, and I was just so upset. And I was like, how is it possible that I have seen videos on YouTube? You see now how I'm measuring progress? I have
Mhm.
seen videos on YouTube of people working out in 6 months, and they're so like in good shape, and they have muscles and whatnot. I can do at least half of that, a quarter of that, maybe even 15% of that, and I'm nowhere near close. And I quit because I didn't see progress, right? And then I tried again, and then I quit again. And the same thing happened a couple of times. And then eventually I asked myself, why am I doing this in the first place? Right? Is it about perception from other people? Because I had never faced that question truthfully. I kept telling myself that I wanted to be healthy, but then the reality was perception, just like you said, right? Girls, and
Mhm.
looking good when you're walking out in the street because the clothes fit you and it doesn't look like there's a balloon rolling around. So
Mhm.